Darauf freue ich mich schon seit gestern und ich musste mich richtig zurückhalten, das nicht schon privat zu schauen. Neues Mark Rober Video. World's Longest Field Goal. World's Longest Field Goal. Robot versus NFL Kicker. Mark Rober hat probiert, einen Roboter zu bauen, der den Football besser schießen kann als ein Profi. Und darauf freue ich mich seit gestern. Let's go home.
This is Matt Prater. He's the place kicker for the Detroit Lions. He holds the NFL record for the longest field goal ever, which means...
Also ich habe wirklich überhaupt keine Ahnung von Football, aber ich mag Mark Rober.
He's really good at kicking footballs. And this is a robot I made, which, not to brag, is also really good at kicking footballs. So to settle who's better between the two of us, we're going...
Das war doch bearbeitet, oder?
is also really good at kicking footballs. So to settle who's better between the two of us,
Digga, einfach in den Orbit geschossen.
we're going straight to Detroit. Mano a mano, man versus machine. But to do that, I'm gonna need an 8-second travel montage.
Auf Casey Neistat.
I arrived an hour before him to get the full NFL experience.
Oh ja, der ist mit Bose gepartnert. Ey, ich bin so neidisch, Bose.
And so I could soak up the fact that I had an entire stadium just to myself in the most professional way possible.
FPV-Drohne auch immer noch auf meiner Liste.
We just got word Matt is about 10 minutes out. He thinks he's coming here just to teach me all about like the kicking mechanics and the science behind kicking field goals, which is partially true. I am curious. But the real reason I'm here is I built a machine that can kick really far field goals. I think it can kick it farther than any human. But if I'm really gonna test that hypothesis, I need to be kicking against the one human that can kick field goals the farthest, and that happens to be Matt Prater. Originally, a guy named Tom Dempsey, who had a unique kicking foot, held the record with a 63-yard field goal, and no one could beat that for 43 years. But then Prater came along and beat his record by 1 yard with a 64-yard field goal in 2013. History is made! And he still holds the record nearly a decade later.
Nice.
And not only did Matt show up, but to my absolute delight, he brought along his personal trainer. Who's this?
This is Pax.
What up, Pax? How are you, buddy? And so after I joined him for his standard warm-up and stretch routine, I went straight for the jugular. So
Digga, ist so krank, wie Football einfach in keinem Land der Welt auch nur irgendeine Rolle spielt, außer in Amerika. Natürlich, ne, es gibt so ein paar Teams in Deutschland, es gibt hier und da, Rugby ist groß in Australien und in Frankreich oder keine Ahnung wo. Aber das muss man schon sagen, Football ist Amerika durch und durch.
do you practice just as much as everyone else on the team?
I definitely don't practice as much as yes. But he wants to be the kicker until it's the end of a game and you need a field goal.
Then I asked him how to kick really long field goals, and he said it all comes down to just two things.
Leg speed. I would
Leg
say, is
speed.
first.
And leg speed makes intuitive sense, but then he told me the second critical factor is making contact 2.2 inches up from the bottom of the ball.
Ich glaube, ja, das ist halt so komisch geformt, dieses Ding.
Extensive research has been done that backs up these two factors as the most critical for maximizing distance. So after that, he showed me the proper technique to achieve those two factors.
So you come in an angle so your plant leg should be as close to straight as you can, and at this angle, so your kicking leg can be straight. So right when you're making contact with the ball, your kicking leg should be locking right at contact.
So with that, we were ready to go, and this was his first kick, which he lined up left-footed, which didn't bode well for me, because he's not left-footed. This is a disaster. And then it was my turn. All right, Rober. Nope. Laces out, Dan. Gotta remember everything you taught me.
Yep.
I like that.
Got it.
Nailed it.
Nice.
Moving back 5. This is a 25-yarder.
Ja, ist komplett gestört. Er hat einfach bei der NASA gearbeitet und hat gequittet, nur um YouTube Vollzeit zu machen.
Now you might say, Mark, what do you mean 25? You're only on the 15-yard line. And that's true, but the end zone itself is 10 yards, so you always include that with the kick distance.
Got it. Good shot.
All right, Prater, let's see what you got, pal. Ignore this. Don't let this bother you.
We can have a full conversation.
What'd you have for breakfast? Oh,
Digga, der hat so viel Power.
That was right in the middle. While I might not be good at kicking footballs, I am good at engineering, which technically means I'm really good at kicking footballs. Let's go, baby!
What is this?
Okay. And stop. So now Prater knew the real reason I was here, but to truly
Ich glaube, die tragen auch sowas wie Fußballschuhe, ja.
understand what he's up against, we have to go back just about 1 year, because that's when, with the help of my buddy John here, we tested our first prototype.
Ein Jahr. Die Projekte von dem sind halt so fucking riesig.
John's really good with this kind of rugged, high-strength build, because he's worked in the industry doing props and special effects. And so at the end of that first day of testing, we could make a 60-yard field goal, but honestly, it was kind of just barely. We needed more power and accuracy because it was really inconsistent. Fundamentally, we've got a hub attached to an axle here. It can freely rotate, and if you slap a kicking leg on the end, they both rotate together. Then if you put a winch on this side connected to a wire that secures to the hub here, and then springs on this side also attached to a wire that attach to the hub in the same spot, then when the winch pulls down, the springs stretch out as the leg is cocked back into position. Now we just need a way to fire the thing. A quick release is a hook system that easily unhooks when you pull a cord. So if we put one of those here and then pull the cord, the springs now contract, which makes the leg spin real fast. With a big build like this, you are only as strong as your weakest link. So this process of prototyping, failing, and fixing helps flesh out all the weak links as quickly as possible until hopefully there's none left. And so a year after we first started, this fourth version finally had the kind of power and accuracy I was hoping for, even if we were definitely pushing the physical limits in a few critical spots. For now, though, it was time to give Mr. Prater a proper introduction. Now, I'm not abandoning everything you taught me here. Okay, 2 steps over. Okay, here we go. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Get up! That's my boy! That's my boy!
Wow, that looked really easy.
That looked pretty easy,
that looked really easy.
I hate to tell you, Matt, but that wasn't full power. In fact, that was only 1/3 power. For a half power demonstration, we went to the extra point location, where for reference, here is Prater, the mere human, kicking full power into the net, and then Finkel at half power, kicking it into the stands. And at this point, we'd poked the sleeping giant, because first of all, Matt suspiciously asked me to hold his next kick. Mommy.
Auch komplett gestört, was der für eine Power hat. Ich würde mich freuen, wenn mich Football jucken würde, aber es geht mir halt wirklich komplett am Arsch vorbei.
And secondly, after that 50-yarder, he continued working his way down the field, despite my best efforts to even further rig the competition.
Oh my gosh.
And it's good!
You have real bad golf etiquette.
I had this great idea to arrange with my buddy Paul Nurkala to get some drone racing footage of a
Digga,
field
so
goal because
geil.
he's the drone racing world champion, and that would just be so dope. This footage here is from a test session we arranged to see how cool it would look, and it turns out the answer is really freaking cool. But after we got everything set up, a staff member requested we didn't fly drone inside, so you're just gonna have to use your imagination as Prater bombs this 60-yarder.
Was? Dann durften die nicht fliegen da drin? Mit welcher Begründung? Och, Digga.
Which meant the next kick attempt would be farther than his NFL record. And one of the things Matt does so well is that technically you want to launch the ball at 45 degrees to maximize the distance on a kick. More than that and you waste your energy in height. Lower than that and it hits the ground prematurely. In real life though, where the ball experiences drag from wind resistance, the ideal angle is closer to 40 degrees, which you can see Prater has down to a science. This is 1 yard past the NFL record, which this man holds.
Oh, I hit off my toe. Get up.
It's good!
Is it in? I'll take it.
Hat trotzdem geklappt.
So go back a little further.
You're crazy, dude. I'm putting on my rally cap for you, buddy. As much as I don't want to get doused with Gatorade. And while Matt's taking a few attempts at this 70-yard field goal, let me just say that it's really special being in the presence of an elite athlete such as himself. Don't rule out barefoot here. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness.
No, it's way short.
These were honestly the first shots he'd missed all day from anywhere on the field.
Krass. Komplett gestört.
No,
Dude, well done. So now that Prater was unsuccessful from 70 yards, Finkel rolled over to potentially win the competition and save me from an ice bath. All right, here we go. A little bit of train horn for good luck and good measure. And this is where Matt got a little taste of Finkel's true range of motion.
Whoa. Okay.
This was about 80% full power for him. That's all you gotta do, dude. That's all you gotta do. 3, 2, 1, hit it! Go, baby, go! And so even with a terribly inefficient launch trajectory...
Digga, what the fuck? Cam ist im Weg.
3, 2, 1, hit it! Go, baby, go! And so even with a terribly inefficient launch trajectory, we'd settled the question of man versus machine. We decided to keep going and try his foot next at an 84-yard field goal, which is an even 20 yards past the NFL record. Okay, a little bit of horn. Now we're ready. 3, 2, 1. And when you see this, these balls were no Deflategate Brady specials. These were the most inflated footballs I'd ever handled. You could barely dent them in with your hand. It's just the pressure from the robot foot was that high. The first kick had the worst possible trajectory, and so the hang time was hilarious.
Digga.
We had quite a bit of energy up in the air. I think we need to optimize this a bit. So for the next one, we arranged the foot to contact higher up on the ball so it wouldn't pop it up so much. But still not a full power kick. Go!
Digga, der Ball fliegt so.
But this one was just short because it knuckleballed and didn't pop up high enough. Right, Finkel, from 83 yards, full power plus a little more. 3, 2, 1. Oh! 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 Watch Finkel's head here. I'm sorry, buddy.
Und das Ding ist komplett in die Decke geflogen.
Oh my gosh! And sure enough, it was the key that was the culprit. Keys aren't supposed to do this. Like, that's bonkers. And so despite the explosive finale, I'm calling this a W. Not only did Robot Ray Finkel beat the NFL record with a 70-yard kick at sea level with no wind, but he did it at 80% power and a super inefficient kick trajectory. On top of that, even though he lost a couple freaking legs in the process, he showed he's capable of bombing a 105-yard field goal into a slight headwind right off the turf with no tee. And so with all that, honestly, I was willing to let Prater off the hook, because an argument could be made that I technically sort of cheated. But his son Pax was already way too excited about the prospect, which I thought was just fantastic, until it turned out he got off easy by comparison.
Nice. Ehrenmann. Mark Rober, wirklich bester Mann. Boah, das war fucking sick.